Hey, what's up YouTube? It's me, Adam Neff, and I am back with another one of those game reviews. And yes, I finally did it. I finally managed to bring you guys a more recent game than kind of what I've been bringing you in the past, which has kind of been just going through some of my favorite games of all time. Now, the game we're talking about today is none other than Ori and the Will of the Wisps. I almost said Ori and the Blind Forest. No, this is Ori and the Will of the Wisps. Yeah, I know, that's kind of a mouthful, but nonetheless, this game ends up being a masterpiece. Simply put, I really do think this is a masterpiece. This is one of the best games I have played all year long. Yes, I know, I say that about a lot of games, but I honestly, I feel like that's just due in part to my awesome ability to pick good games. No, but really, this game is a masterpiece, you guys. And for anybody who's played the original Ori and the Blind Forest, got it this time, you're going to know exactly what I'm talking about here. And to be honest, guys, if you have not played the original, go back and play it. It is a masterpiece as well. And if I'm being completely honest, if you want to understand the complete story of Ori and the Will of the Wisps, you kind of want to go back and play the original, because some of that does tie in. Now, Ori and the Will of the Wisps does stand on its own story-wise. You can play it without playing the original, but I'm telling you, it will be a whole lot better and much more fulfilling if you go back and play the first one before you play this one. But other than that, let's just jump right on in here. Now, you start this one almost exactly where the first one left off. Ori's kind of hanging out with his buddy, this little owl thing, and they end up flying off, get stuck in a storm, and that's kind of where the game begins. Now, this game almost immediately shoves you right back into the action. Now, unfortunately, they do reset Ori all the way back to stock, even though at the end of the first one, Ori was kind of badass. But anyway, I mean, the first opening scene that you play through as Ori solo is intense, guys. And I'm going to try to keep things as spoiler-free as I can, but just as a warning, there are a couple spoilers, and I do kind of show a few things in the video that could potentially give something away for you guys later in the game. So I am sorry about that. But in this one, even though you start off kind of neutered, I guess, from the first game, it does not take you long before you start building up your abilities and your strengths. And let me tell you guys, this game, just like the first one, did a very good job at making you feel just like a superhero. They did kind of do a few things that were a little different than the first one, and I'm going to get into that a little bit later, but I want to talk about, the first thing I want to talk about here is the visuals. This game is gorgeous, and I know you may have seen some other videos or maybe even some screenshots of this game. Let me tell you this, you guys, it does not disappoint. It looks just as, you know what? It looks even better in motion. Whoever was in charge of the art direction for both the first and second game, man, they had it on lock because they nailed it. So basically the whole style of this game has kind of got a whimsical fantasy-esque type style. I mean, Ori himself is, I guess, a wisp, a forest spirit, but the style has kind of got this almost hand-drawn, cel-shaded effect to it, but it's also really detailed at the same time. Everything kind of has this odd glow to it. I'll tell you what, I've never seen the Unity engine so beautiful before, I guess. No, well, I take that back. I have. The Unity engine is awesome, but they did such a good job with it in this game. So this game is what people refer to as a Metroidvania type game. Now, for any of you out there who don't know what a Metroidvania game is, it's Metroid and Castlevania kind of mashed together. The whole idea is that you have an entire map available to you, and you can kind of choose which part of the map you want to attack first, and then you can go to a different part of the map and always return to what you just did later on to complete things or grind something out or gather things. So honestly, if you like those types of games, this one is right up your alley. Now, it is a very much so a hack and slash type of game. The first one was too. However, it is buttery smooth. There's gonna be so many times where you get in these situations where, you'll bounce over an enemy and grapple to a plant and then attack another enemy, all while trying to get over some thorny patch. And when you complete that, after trying it 15 times, you feel so good about yourself. However, would I recommend this for a smaller child? Probably not. Would they like the art and the story? Absolutely. They'd probably sit there for hours just watching you. However, the difficulty of this game makes it probably unsuitable for a kid. And to be honest, if you don't want them to see you throw a controller across the room and shout a bunch of profanity, you may want them to leave the room during certain boss fights. Yeah, it can be that hard. As far as the gameplay mechanics themselves, this one took a little bit different approach than the original did. The idea was to create kind of a hub world where Ori could go back to, like kind of a save point, where you could purchase more abilities or upgrade other abilities, and you can kind of upgrade this hub world, which is part of the story, and honestly, that made everything feel a lot more grounded and a lot deeper. That being said, this is kind of where I personally started running into gripes. Just issues that I personally had with the game. Now, I'm not saying that everybody's going to run into this. I had a friend who was playing through it at the same time. He said he loved it, but for me, it was almost more aggravating than good. So, in the first game, you kind of just got these abilities, and these abilities would be upgraded over time as you collected more orbs, more XP, if you will. In this one, you would collect abilities just like the first one. However, you could only have some of them applied at any given time. In fact, by the end of the game, I only had 5 spots for my abilities, yet I had 32 abilities. I'm not sure where they were going with that one. In fact, there were abilities that I never even applied through the entire game. Also, as far as the attacks and the weapons are concerned, I think you got like about 12 of them, but the way they made you do it is you had to map it to your buttons. So you had a software wheel where you could select and remap those buttons on the fly. This kind of seems a little convoluted, I know, but if I'm being honest, as I went throughout the game, I got more used to it, and I got to a point where it became just second nature. I'd bounce into the attack wheel and switch up my loadout on the fly, depending on what I was facing at that certain time, and it got really, I don't know, it actually started to make sense towards the end of the game. It worked really well. Now, you would think it would pull you out of the action having to stop and then change up your loadout right in the middle of an attack, but it actually gave you a whole lot of room to kind of play with different abilities while you're attacking somebody, to the point where you could use multiple attacks or multiple abilities at the same time. It actually ended up being pretty good, but at the time when I ran into it, it honestly didn't make a whole lot of sense. But as time went by, I started to get a lot better at it, and it wasn't an issue from that point on. Now, the enemies. You're going to run into these big old bosses in this game, and this is something that the first one was kind of missing, but these bosses were absolutely amazing. So fun to play, so aggravating, but so fun and so rewarding. And furthermore, they made sense. They made sense to the story. As with the puzzles, all the puzzles and all the bosses in this game just fit into the world and made it that much better. Now, I don't want to babble about this game for too long. Honestly, I could probably talk about this game for an hour, but I feel like this video is already getting too long. But at the end of this, what I personally can say about this game is you absolutely should go out, pick up a copy of this, and play through it. It's one of those games that you can kind of just pop in, play for 20-30 minutes, and then pop out, and you're going to have an absolute blast with this. I 100% recommend this for everyone. Alright guys, that's going to do it for me on this one, but I hope that I didn't babble on too long about this. This game was absolutely a blast to play. If you guys are liking these videos, and I hope you are, I want to keep making these videos for you guys. So if you like this video, please feel free to subscribe. It really is going to help me decide whether or not I want to keep doing this. And if you guys have a comment or a game you might want to see me review in the future, something that you are thinking about picking up or you're just not sure about, leave it in the comments below, and maybe I'll pick it up and play through it and do a review on it. Other than that, you guys have been absolutely great. I know it's kind of tough out there right now, but we'll make it through this, and I will see you guys on the next one. Peace.